to the root. We have to go to the cause. Dealing with the condition itself is not enough.
Dear Mr. Massa, I'm just trying to mind my own business. What's the matter? It's just another day, another black king captured. I'm about to lose my brain, stuck inside this ghetto rapture. I got a lot of smoke. If you want it, you can have it. They want a hat trick, but this is black girl magic. Ain't talking about the kind that'll make you disappear, but I'm talking about the power of the melanin within. Ain't looking for trouble, but I'ma say this one time. I put 2 dukes up if you try to touch mine. We still want justice for Samir and Trayvon. You say you don't see color, but racism ain't blind. They targeting little kids whose skin look just like mine. So I'm paranoid, it's a war zone outside. And I'm a black queen, so if you ask me to step out of my car, you gon' have to snatch me. Cause I ain't going no damn well. Had to spend my whole life living unfair. Ancestors got my back and they right here. You can never understand, it's a nightmare. Living in my black shoes by the black rules. You can keep your handshake, I don't dap coons. The white man to go nuts if he can't shoot. But you all on his side like a damn fool. Make it make sense.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
We are exploited. We are downtrodden.
Make it make sense.
We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation
Queen.
away from us or aside from us is come together
Queen.
against the common enemy. Who taught you to hate the texture of your
Ahmadiyyah.
hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin?
Ahmadiyyah.
Parents, pay attention to the books, the school system, even to your little children. Lies mixed with wisdom. His skin too bright, so he was blind to the prison. My skin just right, so I collide with division. You trying to pray to God, but we tired of religion. No savior saving, we got to save our savings. We used to pay miss, how we gon' make the slave rich? But who's to blame, and tell me why you complaining? We need a team effort just to rule the nation. Like a bad relationship, missing communication. We missing moderation. They're trying to get a poison to my population. No reparations. I'm getting tired of Satan.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
I'm getting tired of waiting.
We are downtrodden.
Queen.
We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation.
Queen.
One of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations. America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all in Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threat.
This is the sound of endorsement.
It's a cut on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threat. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans, and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating know me. Is it 'cause it's me now? Hear my truth now. Yeah. I'm here to speak and make it clear. I'm sorry, y'all, for all I've done, but I'm not the only one. In a dark place, I told some lies, but I'm not the only one. We all got secrets under the sun. In the shadows, we played the game. Now I'm standing here taking the blame. A lot of y'all was at the freak off too, so don't put it all on me. That's just the truth. I've been up and down this road trying to find my peace. Confessions of a man without a release. Oh, now, hey. In the mirror, I saw the truth hiding in plain view. I'm coming clean now, this burden to undo. We were all there dancing shadows in the night, acting wrong when we knew what was right. But deep inside, there's more you must see. In this room of mirrors, it's not just me. I walk this path with heavy chains, trying to shed those sins, erase the stains. I've seen the highs and the crushing lows, fading in the spotlight. That's how it goes. Yeah. Now I'm standing here, hard on my sleeve, trying to clear the air, let the demons relieve. Every wrong turn and every mistake led me to this moment, let my soul quake. Plays a part in the shadows deep, lost in the game. It's promises to keep. All right. Hello, everyone. Grand Rising. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your Saturday morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Dr._A Shakur, TikTok at Dr. A Shakur, and Twitter at DGoddess27. And as per usual, if you don't like what the Queen is cooking, well, you already know what to do. All right. Hello, TC Dan, Claudette, Pamela is here. Ty Ingram. Okay. Just Too Real For You is here. All right, Claudette. I see you. Lillian X, Most Hated Bronze Flat Power God. Okay, let's get into it. Perplex 504 Nola. Brand Slayer TV. Sophie B is in his house. Okay, so let's get this party started, honey, because Diddy is going down. All right. Diddy is going down, honey. I was so excited to get on here. I have the wrong banner up. Hold on. I have my spiritual channel banner up. All right. So let's talk about it, folks. Darnell April is here. All right. Greta Lee. Shout out to my moderators putting in work on this Saturday morning. So here's the thing, beloveds. The grand jury has officially been convened. Okay. It's been confirmed. Now I know, I know months ago, back in May, the end of May, some people were reporting that the grand jury was convened, but the grand jury had been impaneled, two different things. But they have officially been convened. And so what does this mean for Diddy? Well, more bad news. Okay, so let's talk about it. And new grand jury subpoenas have been issued. Okay, because they're digging for dirt on Diddy, honey, in Miami. All right, they're asking for hotel receipts and everything, not only about Diddy, but Daphne Joy as well. So I know when 50 Cent gets wind of this, honey, he is going to be smiling like a Cheshire cat from ear to ear. So let's talk about it. The federal authorities investigating Diddy to possibly get a criminal indictment against the music mogul are chugging along, issuing a new grand jury subpoena related to a hotel in Florida. Now, according to a new legal doc obtained by TMZ, federal prosecutors from the Southern District of New York got a subpoena requiring the Fancy Miami Hotel to cough up those documents and other evidence as it pertains and relates to Diddy. Diddy and his ex, Daphne Joy, are both named in the subpoena. Now, the subpoena calls for the hotel to hand over reservation records that involve Diddy, Daphne, and other associates of the Bad Boy Entertainment CEO. The subpoena specifies the period from January the 1st to 2008 to the present. They want all the receipts, the whole Rolodex. They want it all, honey. Okay, they're asking for the check-in and the check-out dates, room numbers, guest preferences and requests, and billing information, including room service. Okay, they even want to know what they had for dinner. Okay, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Please pay attention. Now, they say federal prosecutors also requested email and mailing addresses and phone numbers, along with forms of payment, such as cash and credit cards. Okay, y'all have to excuse that noise in the background. Somebody's trying to get them a little snack. But anyway, with that all being said, prosecutors further asked for computer IP addresses and logins for the individuals, as well as copies of their identifications and vehicle information. Honey, they want it all. Okay, please pay attention. Now, what's more, the feds inquired about surveillance footage at the hotel. The new subpoena was issued only a couple of weeks ago, so it looks like the authorities are still hard at work on the Diddy probe. And so, as was reported in March, Homeland Security agents, of course, raided Diddy's residences in Miami and Los Angeles during an ongoing investigation into the record exec for alleged sex trafficking, narcotics trafficking. There was weapons that were involved. Remember, they did find and confiscate some weapons, and also money laundering was then later added when they expanded the probe. Now, TMZ also has confirmed that a federal grand jury was convened, and witnesses are notified, or they have been notified, that they could be called to testify in the Southern District of New York. Now, remember, excuse me, on the same day as the raid was conducted, or the raids were conducted, they had already spoken with several witnesses then. And then we know that they spoke with some after. Okay. Now, meanwhile, Diddy's name, he's been named in 8 lawsuits accusing him of sex trafficking, sexual assault, and physical abuse. The most notable suit was brought by his ex-girlfriend, Cassie, which was quickly settled. And they have now reached out. TMZ has reached out to Diddy and Daphne, and they declined to comment. Honey, they got nothing to say. Okay. I want you all to pay attention. They don't have anything to say. Now, that all being said, didn't I tell y'all his arse was going to be indicted mid to late September? Please pay attention, because you heard it here first. Now, and here's the thing. At the end of the day, the question becomes, okay, who all is going to be called to testify before this grand jury? Because we have to look at the facts. Now, here's the thing. This is a federal case. So the state charges may not be brought up, because you see, those things that are not charged in filing documents for the federal indictment, which is coming real soon, well, those things can be deemed as inadmissible in court, okay, according to the law. So one might ask, is the footage of Diddy attacking Cassie in 2016 at that hotel in New York, is that in fact going to be used and presented to the grand jury? Because that would be very nefarious for Diddy, okay? That would be incendiary. So here's the thing. The only way that would likely be brought into evidence, that video, because that was a state case, okay? Remember, that wasn't anything federal. That was an assault, a brutal assault nonetheless, but it wasn't a federal case. So that's a state level case. So how could that be used in court? Well, I'm so glad you asked. You see, they could use that in court. They could show that to the grand jury, but they would have to attach that to something in the federal case. For example, let's not forget that in Cassie's lawsuit, when she spoke of the incident at the hotel, she in fact said that there was a freak off the night before. She didn't expressly say why she was trying to get away from Diddy that morning. She didn't expressly tell what happened and why she was leaving. We just saw that she was leaving. She was trying to flee and all of that. And of course, he attacked her and tried to enforce her to stay. But she did say that there was a freak off the night before that included sex workers, okay, prostitutes. Now, with that all being said, what does that mean? Well, the question now becomes, were any of the people involved in the freak-offs flown in by Diddy? Because according to Rodney Jones's lawsuit, Diddy would fly people in, okay? And with that all being said, if anyone was flown in, then that could be attached to the trafficking. Okay, so then that would give them the ability to show that video to the grand jury. And that's not going to look good, okay? That's not going to look good. Even though no charges were filed in the case because it's past the statute of limitations, that could still be used as evidence to show his intentions. And as I told you months ago, back last year, that would definitely show the grand jury, in my opinion, that Cassie was not just, she wasn't a co-conspirator or an accomplice, that she was a victim, someone who was likely coerced, forced to engage in such acts and such things, because she was around Diddy for a whole decade. Okay, so of course, her hands are not completely clean. There are some things that I'm sure that were illegal that she participated in, but was it by her own will? Okay, was it by her own will? Where was there, the fact that she wanted to do these things? Likely not. She was likely forced and coerced. So the videotape would definitely help to establish that fact and lend credence to her claims, okay? So please pay attention, because as I also told you, what would happen is that Diddy's defense attorneys, they would try to discredit Cassie and possibly say, that she was a willing accomplice, that she was doing these things too, and try to make her look like she's not to be trusted, like the grand jury can't hear her. And then I also want you to keep in mind that during this, the grand jury, when the witnesses come and the accusers, they're going to be allowed to come and testify, witnesses, accusers. Now, mind you, all of the accusers would likely not be included in the federal case, because some of the charges or some of the accusations, some of them are not federal. The ones that pertain to sex trafficking, those will of course be included. Some of them may not be. And the ones that may not be, well, those witnesses may not want to even testify, but then they would then be subpoenaed. Okay, so please pay attention. Hey, this is all nefarious. Queen Sam said, keep trying to get flued out. Okay, this is all crazy. RG Time said, Alexa, play I'm Locked Up by Akon. I know that's right. Okay, Diddy, you are going down, and I, for one, cannot wait. Okay, and here's another thing too. At the end of the day, I'm pretty sure, as we all should know, Cassie's going to likely be the star witness. And as far as any charges that could have come against Cassie, if she was a co-conspirator in any of his crimes or whatever, whether she willingly wanted to, which I'm pretty sure she didn't, or I would think that she didn't, and was forced or coerced or whatever, well, Cassie has likely been given an immunity deal. Okay, she's likely been given an immunity deal. So with that all been said, she could get up there and tell everything, all right, spill all of the tea and not face any consequences is all I'm saying. And then let's not forget, she could be considered an unindicted co-conspirator, so to speak, okay? And another thing is, let's think about Brendan Paul. Brendan Paul, the alleged drug mule, who already has faced charges and was arrested for having drugs on him. At the end of the day, it's more likely than not that he's already flipped on Diddy a long time ago and made some sort of deal. So then you have that, okay? So all of this is just bad for Diddy. And let me tell you something else. Let us not forget that they also spoke with some of the people that were on the tapes that they found at Diddy's residences, okay, during the raids. They've already spoke with some of the people in the video footages. So what was on the footage? We don't know. Was it just things pertaining to sex, were they just, getting freaky? Or were there anything illegal that they themselves were involved in. Because if so, then they likely made deals too, just to get immunity so they can tell everything that happened. So they would cooperate with the feds. And so this is a whole lot. And as I've told you before, it doesn't take a lot to indict somebody. And one thing about the feds is when the feds come, they're coming correct. Okay. Now, I've yet to hear of a case where the feds brought charges against someone, had a grand jury convened, and there was no indictment that followed. I've never heard of a case. Not saying there isn't any, but I've studied a lot of law, okay, when I was in college and even after, and I've never heard of a case where the grand jury was convened by the feds, with the accusations, evidence, and all of the things that they had, and they didn't get that indictment. And here's another thing too. Let's keep in mind that I also told you all last year how the grand jury is clearly biased. Okay, because when the witnesses come and the accusers come to testify, Diddy and his team are not invited. They don't get to come and get up there and plead their case. Okay, that's what they don't get to do. Now, however, if Diddy wants to write or issue a statement to have presented, which is likely not going to happen, that rarely happens. Okay, so honey, let me tell y'all something. Diddy is going down. All right. Diddy's going down. Please pay attention. Okay, and here's the thing: the feds have their ducks in a row. We already know that. They are turning over every rock and stone. Southwest Texas said Diddy somewhere shaking in his boots, pretending to be unbothered. You already know he is. And he knew this was coming. He knew this was coming because at the end of the day, that's why he filed last week to try to get Rodney Jones's case dismissed. Okay. And so all he did was all he did was incentivize, in my opinion, all he did was incentivize Rodney Jones to come out and start talking publicly, honey. Okay. That's all he did. So now it's just not words on a paper. It's not just, a story in an article. It's not just what's written in a lawsuit. Rodney Jones has now come out and spoken publicly. And so Diddy's looking real crazy. That's all I'm saying. Okay. He's looking real crazy, beloveds. Okay. Locked Queen Candy J says Diddy deserves everything that's coming to him and then some. This was a long time coming, i.e. decades of domestic terrorism and crimes against humanity. Okay, he puts the end in nefarious. Yes, he does, beloved. Not the end in nefarious. Joyce says Diddy physically and emotionally abused Kim and Cassie. Yes, and I also think he deleted Kim. I also think that he deleted Kim. Okay, now that's my own opinion at the end of the day. So this is getting real ugly for Diddy. Like I said, this is his worst nightmare. Well, I'm not going to say it's his worst nightmare because the worst nightmare is going to be when the feds gift him those free silver bracelets. Okay, that's going to be his worst nightmare. But this is his worst one as of yet. Okay, this is all going down, honey. Y'all know I'm on Diddy watch. Please pay attention. So anyway, with that all been said, let's have a word from my sponsors at 12 Tribe before we continue. Okay, that all been said, likes up everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
All right, don't forget you can pick up your 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy Crafts. Go to Etsy.com, go to Lisa Crafts, and also at Walmart.com. Okay, and let me give a shout out to my chief moderator, Desmond, who sent me this information this morning, okay, about the grand jury convening. And it was something else I was going to say. Hold on. Spicy says, I knew the hammer was going to drop soon. When I saw Sloan Bella looking relaxed and showing us her home, she be getting those advanced dreams. Okay, absolutely, honey. And let me tell you all something. Now, you all know I told you all a couple of weeks ago that I was gonna retwist my locks. I never got around to it. So I got up early this morning, about 7, and I was like, oh my God, I may as well just go ahead and do my hair today. I don't think I'm going live. And thank God I didn't, because something in my spirit said, no, don't do your hair right now. Do it later on this evening. And so I'm glad, honey, because at the end of the day, I still would have gotten on here. Hair half done and all. Pay attention. Okay. So RG Titan said, I love Lisa's hair growth oil in my hair. I have Lisa's hair growth oil in my hair right now, and it works too. All right. Yes, it does. Okay. And so anyway, honey, this is all nefarious. And so let's talk about Kabami for a second before we roll up out of here. Let's talk about Kabami, okay? Oh, hell no, said Desmond Works do not sleep. I know, right? Lillian said, Queen, you look nice. You still look nice. Thank you, beloved. Thank you. Okay. The Queen was up early this morning, honey. I want y'all to pay attention. Actually, to be honest with you, I get up early every morning. I literally get up early every morning, in actuality. TC Dan said, not Kabami, Queen. Yes, Dan. That's who she is. All right, Troy said, all praises to the Queen. Thank you, beloved. Joy says, the day Diddy gets locked up should be a national holiday. Brad Slayer TV said, Queen, how do we advertise your channel? Oh, thank you for asking, beloved. You know, you can share my link, or if you have your own channel or your own social media, you know, like Instagram, whatever, you know, you can just shout me out and drop the link or whatever. I appreciate you for asking, okay? So with that all being said, listen, I'm also going to have OG Patrice on here, okay? She emailed me last night, and I just emailed her back this morning, but she probably hasn't seen it yet. But I'm going to have OG Patrice on here so we can get that scoop about Kim Porter, okay? I want y'all to pay attention. Now, for me to not be a person who is who has a celebrity gossip channel, I think I do pretty good, okay? I think I do pretty good with getting this info, right? I mean, at the end of the day, though I'm not committed to celebrity gossip, y'all know I still put in a little work, okay? So with that all being said, Vince Air from the UK said, here we go with Kadami's wigotry nonsense. Lottie says, I'm retired. I go to sleep at 4 a.m. Not 4 a.m. Honey, I was up late last night myself watching a good movie. I was watching that movie with Al Pacino and Danny DeVito. Okay, The Irishman. That movie came out in 2019, and I still hadn't seen it. I started watching it last night. It's good. I got to finish it today. Okay, so TC Dan said the Queen is always queening all day, every day, and twice on Sundays. Thank you, beloved. Okay, so now let's talk about Kabami, honey, because it's all nefarious. That interview, JD Vance, first of all, came out and had some things to say about it. But before we get into that, I forgot to play you all the clip on yesterday of when they mentioned what Trump said about Kabami being black and her response. So let me just pull that up real quick. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. And by the way, it's showing, before I get into that, hold on, before I show that clip, let's talk about this. Because they say exclusive. Kamala Harris surges ahead of Donald Trump in latest poll taken after the DNC. Democrat Kamala Harris has surged ahead of Republican Donald Trump 48% to 43%. So they're almost neck and neck, okay? The findings reflect an 8-point turnaround in the presidential race from late June, when Trump had led President Joe Biden in the survey by nearly 4 points. Now, the vice president's small lead was fueled by big shifts among some key demographic groups traditionally crucial for Democrats, including Hispanic and Black voters and young people. Oh, did you all see that tape that they said has surfaced? Let me see if I can find that real quick, honey, because they said it's a tape that has resurfaced, a video of Kabami calling young people stupid or something. Did anybody see that? One's in the chat if you all saw that. I haven't even seen it, but I forgot to look into that because somebody told me about it yesterday. They said Kabami called people stupid.
I want you to do more.
Hold on. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Likes up. Everyone, please like and share. I said, Kamala, now this might come back to haunt you, honey. Hold on. Let me see here. I'm looking on TikTok. Oh, yeah, here it is right here. So let me just send this to my email real quick so we can hear what she had to say. They said this has been making its rounds on the internet. Okay, so I'll play that in just a second. Hold on. So everyone, please get those likes up. Remember, it doesn't cost you anything to like the Queen's videos. And if you don't like the Queen's videos, ask yourself, why are you here? Okay? Belinda said Homala is winning nothing. Not Homala. Okay, and so anyway, so they're saying a lot of Black voters, Hispanics, and young people are voting for her or, supporting her. Among those with annual incomes of less than $20,000 in the biggest change, which is a 3-point Trump edge over Biden in June, has become a 23-point Harris advantage over Trump in August. Here's the thing. I find this part interesting. Listen, because they say with annual incomes of less than $20,000, why are those people supporting Kabami? She don't care nothing about them. She specifically keeps saying middle class. Isn't that what she's saying? Last I checked, if you're making $20,000 or less a year, that's not middle class. That's poor. Okay, and she hasn't said a word about poor people, right? But she's giving all this money to these immigrants. Please pay attention. That's all I'm saying. She's giving all this money to these illegal immigrants. Okay, so let's get the likes up. Now I got to go ahead and pull this video up and see what she said about the young folks. Here we go. I'm going to share my screen. This is just a 20-second clip.
Remember, age is more than a chronological fact. What else do we know about this population, 18 through 24? They are stupid. That is why we put them in dormitories and they have a resident assistant. They make really bad decisions.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, that really wasn't a nice thing to say. Now, she could have said that 18 to 24-year-olds make bad decisions, because they do. We've all been there. But to call them stupid, I don't know how that's going to fly. Okay. Claudette said insulting wench. Okay. Lillian X said, wow, this beesh. Kathy B said, what the hell? Okay. Yeah, that's what she said, beloveds. Okay. That's what she said. Now, let's get into it, because I'm going to go to, oh, Lord, hold on. I just shut out my email accidentally. Okay. So now let's get into what let's first talk about her response when they brought up during that interview that her and Tim Walz did, what she said when they mentioned Trump saying that she wasn't Black. Okay.
Halloween.
Thanks for joining us. Just an hour from now, CNN will broadcast Vice President Kamala Harris's first formal interview since replacing President Biden at the top of the Democratic ticket. She and running mate Tim Walz sat down today with CNN's Dana Bash in Savannah, Georgia, a stop on their 2-day visit to the state, which turned blue in 2020 and is very much for grabs this time. Here's a small sample of that interview.
I want to ask you about your opponent, Donald Trump.
Okay.
I was a little bit surprised. People might be surprised to hear that you have never interacted with him, met him face to face. That's going to change soon. But what I want to ask you about is what he said last month. He suggested that you happened to turn Black recently for political purposes, questioning a core part of your identity.
Yeah.
Any?
Same old tired playbook. Next question, please.
That's it?
That's it.
Harris has come under criticism, not just from Trump supporters, but also journalists, even supporters who worried that delaying this only raised the stakes for her. It's something we'll talk about tonight before the interview airs, and no doubt we'll get plenty of attention afterwards. In any event, this is how she and her campaign wanted to do it. It comes with the first batch of post-convention polling now out. This one from Quinnipiac, showing her at 49% among likely voters and Donald Trump at 47%. That's a national poll within the polls margin of error, meaning no clear leader. New polling from the Wall Street Journal shows the same nationally, a slight Harris lead, but within the margin of error. As for the former president, he's appearing at a town hall tonight in Wisconsin. Earlier today in Michigan, he had this to say about his opponent.
I saw her make a speech. It was so bad. And after they get off, this was one of the greatest performances we've ever seen in our country. With me, I make a speech. I speak for 2 hours. Everybody loves it. I got thousands of people, by the way, outside trying to get in. They never said Trump's a great speaker. I don't even want that. But I must be a great speaker, right? I must. We got thousands of people.
A lot ahead as we roll into tonight's exclusive interview with Vice President Harris and Tim Walz. First, the one asking the question, CNN chief political correspondent Dana Bash. Dana, I'm very curious to see how this went. One of the major points of criticism against the vice president is how she has changed some of her past policy positions. What did she have to say?
Well, Anderson, I asked her about some of those key policy positions, those that really matter to voters, not just here in Georgia, but particularly voters in the must-win state for her of Pennsylvania, issues like fracking, the Green New Deal, and also her changes on immigration. She explained some of those changes, but even more broadly, I wanted to know what she thought voters should take from her evolution.
Generally speaking, how should voters look at some of the changes that you've made, that you've explained some of here in your policy? Is it because you have more experience now and you've learned more about the information? Is it because you were running for president in a Democratic primary? And should they feel comfortable and confident that what you're saying now is going to be your policy moving forward?
Dana, I think the most important and most significant aspect of my policy perspective and decisions is my values have not changed. You mentioned the Green New Deal. I have always believed, and I have worked on it, that the climate crisis is real, that it is an urgent matter to which we should apply metrics that include holding ourselves to deadlines around time. We did that with the Inflation Reduction Act. We have set goals for the United States of America and by extension the globe around when we should meet certain standards for reduction of greenhouse gas emissions. As an example, that value has not changed. My value around what we need to do to secure our border, that value has not changed. I spent 2 terms as the Attorney General of California prosecuting transnational criminal organizations, violations of American laws regarding the illegal passage of guns, drugs, and human beings across our border. My values have not changed.
And Anderson, of course, we talked about the issues confronting voters right now, most is explicitly the crisis of affordability. People are having challenges buying groceries, buying homes, renting housing. And so those are some of the issues that we talked about with regard to what she would do in the future and how that lines up with what she and President Biden have done for the past 3.5 years, among some of the other topics we talked about.
What did the vice president have to say about, this past month and, what it's been like, how she found out that President Biden was stepping aside? I don't know. Did she tell any details on that?
She did. She talked about the phone call that she got, Anderson, on July 21st, 2024. It was a Sunday. We all remember that moment, but it was especially memorable for her. And she gave us some information that I had not heard before about how that call went down, what President Biden said to her at the time. And that's a bit of a teaser. You can see what she said about it later on at 9. But I will tell you that she told me, she said, well, this could be TMI. And I said, there's no such thing as TMI. Give it to us.
All right.
So she did.
Dana, we'll look forward to it. That interview, as Dana said, 9 o'clock, about 54 minutes from now. With me here, CNN's Audie.
All right, so y'all heard it. I want you all to pay attention to something, though. What I found very interesting was the fact that Kabami just glossed over the question. Okay, she didn't really want to respond, and she didn't say that she was Black. At the end of the day, I thought that was very telling. Okay, I thought that was very telling. at the end of the day, she's a BWIC, like I've told you all before. Black when it's convenient. That's what she does. Okay, she pretends to be black when it's convenient. That's just my opinion. Now let's go to what JD Vance had to say about that interview. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Okay, TC Dan said, very interesting indeed. Yeah, TC Dan said, very interesting indeed. Yeah, I thought it was interesting because I was waiting for her to go in. I mean, because she was bringing up Trump when she was asked other questions, you know, when they were asking her about the economy or her policies and this and that, she was continuously bringing up Trump then. So I don't know why she didn't just go ahead and answer that question when the lady asked her about Trump. But she said, next question. Please pay attention. Okay. Okay, here we go.
News today because Kamala Harris finally gives her first official interview as a Democrat.
Extemporaneous speaking, we saw him yesterday, is vice presidential candidate, Ohio Senator JD Vance. JD, good morning to you.
Good morning, guys.
So last night we watched the 27-minute interview that CNN did. Dana Bash did ask a lot of the questions we wanted answers to. And one of the most important things was, how do you, Vice President Harris, explain the flip-flops? But as we just heard in that soundbite, she's not flip-flopping because she has the same values.
Yeah, it's pretty bizarre, right? So if you have the same values, why have you changed your mind on literally every topic that you previously held an opinion on? But I think it's important for us not to buy this. If you look at the way that Kamala Harris is governed, she's actually governed as a far left person. She's just trying to pretend that she's not far left now because, of course, she wants to win the American people's votes over the next couple of months. But if she does, she's going to do the same thing that she's been doing for the last few years.
Okay, I got to stop right there because didn't I tell you all that? I want you all to pay attention. This is absolutely what she's going to do. She's going to do what she's always done. Anything that she said that she wanted to do or would do as soon as she got in office, her first day in office, that's what she's going to do. Pay no attention, okay? Pay not attention, beloveds, to the ramblings of her foolishness that she said in that interview. She was just saying what she thought people wanted to hear. Okay, she was simply saying what people wanted to hear. He also made a good point. Okay, and I don't even really like JD Vance, to be honest, but at the end of the day, he makes a good point when he says, you know, that she's claiming, how has she not changed her values when she's gone back on so many things that she said? She's flip-flopped, okay? And you know, she's a chameleon. That's what she is. She tries to be what she can, whatever she needs to be in the moment. All right. She tries to be whatever she needs to be in the moment. If she needs to be black, she's black. If she needs to be Indian, she's Indian. Okay. If she likes to eat curry chicken, she eats curry chicken. If she likes to make her collard greens in a bathtub or wash them in a bathtub, then she does so. Okay. She flip-flops and she goes around, you know, doing and saying whatever she thinks the masses want to hear. Now, that's just my humble opinion, but let's continue.
Is going to try to make it harder to get American energy from American territory. She's going to make it harder for us to drive down the cost of everything from food to housing. She's going to make it harder for us to enforce our border laws. And she's going to make more chaos and more instability around the world. So it's really absurd for Kamala Harris to sit there and say, well, I don't actually believe in any of the thing that I told you I believed 3 years ago. She has governed as a person who believes those things. And unfortunately, the American people are far off because of it.
So, Senator, she flipped on the EV mandates through the Green New Deal, the border wall, decriminalizing the border cross, Medicare for all, which she was a co-sponsor. I mean, that's a major flip. The mandatory gun buyback, fracking, apparently she supports it now, and offshore drilling. You know, I know it's only been 2 years into politics for you, Senator, but politicians, they change their position. But the problem I have with Kamala Harris, and it's much like when you graciously invited me into your home, I want to know why she changed her position. You told me why you changed your position on Donald Trump. Why aren't we hearing why she changed?
Well, in part because she refuses to give interviews, right? So this is her first interview in 40 days. And of course, she's flanked by her VP colleague there. but she's not a person who actually knows, I think, why she believes the things that she says that she believes. You're exactly right. She did impose an EV mandate, which is going to ship a lot of American manufacturing jobs to China. She has supported the defund the police movement, which has made a lot of our cities much more violent and a lot of our neighborhoods much less safe. She has done all of these things as she's been in government. And again, now she's trying to run away from it. And I agree with you guys. She should have to sit and answer tough questions about why she's changed her mind. I think she answered one question yesterday about how she changed her mind. It was a bit of a word salad, and I don't think it actually gave Americans any insight into who Kamala Harris really is. The final point that I just make about how she was trying to explain her changed perspectives is, if you actually watched what she was saying, the way that she was saying it, it's clear that she doesn't have very strong convictions. I actually, even though I'm running against her, I felt a little bad for her because it was clear that she wasn't totally sure-footed and she didn't totally know why she was saying the things that she was saying. She's been coached to pretend to be a moderate. Unfortunately, guys, she's governed as a San Francisco liberal, and because of it, Americans are poorer, the world is more chaotic, and our border is wide open. We've got to take this country in a new direction, which is why we've got to elect Donald Trump.
Well, let's talk about Pennsylvania, because that is a very important state, and fracking, which matters a lot to the people in Pennsylvania. Here's Kamala Harris on fracking.
No, and I made that clear on the debate stage in 2020 that I would not ban fracking. As vice president, I did not ban fracking. As president, I will not ban fracking. I made very clear where I stand. We are in 2024, and I've not changed that position, nor will I going forward. I kept my word, and I will keep my word. My values have not changed. I believe it is very important that we take seriously what we must do to guard against what is a clear crisis in terms of the climate. And to do that, we can do what we have accomplished thus far. The Inflation Reduction Act, what we have done to invest, by my calculation, over probably $1 trillion over the next 10 years, investing in a clean energy economy. What we've already done, creating over 300,000 new clean energy jobs. That tells me, from my experience as vice president, we can do it without banning fracking.
When I told Trump about this, he urged me to get this message out to as many true patriots as I can.
Senator, and here she is back in 2019.
Will you commit to implementing a federal ban on fracking your first day in office, adding the United States to the list of countries who have banned this devastating practice?
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking.
So, Senator, how do you be simultaneously for the Green New Deal and now for fracking?
Well, you can't. Those are just totally inconsistent positions.
Exactly.
And I actually think that Kamala Harris may have told an explicit lie on top of what she's already said here. So think about this. Kamala Harris says that she changed her mind in 2020 on the debate stage. Her last debate was in 2019 because she dropped out of the race before it really got to voting. So she's saying that she changed her mind on fracking during her general election debate. That's not true. She definitely did not do that. So I think that Kamala Harris got away with a very dishonest sort of, revision of her record there.
Okay, he's not lying. I want you all to pay attention because this is all that I told you on yesterday, that we have to fact check what she says. Because like he just said, she got away with revisions on her lies. Okay, because some people are not going to fact check. They're just going to listen to what this clown lady says and just believe her and take her at her word. But I caught her in several lies yesterday, as you all know. Okay, so let's continue.
But then let's go back just to how this affects the lives of American families and American workers. Fracking is one of the main ways that we have to drive down the cost of energy. Right. And if you think groceries are expensive now, what happens when we increase the cost of energy even further, making it hard to get the food to the grocery store? If you think the cost of housing is bad now, what happens when we increase the cost of producing the materials that go into the houses, which is what a ban on fracking would do? She is pursuing a policy, guys, that is going to make Americans poorer in their own country. And it's so fascinating. The media is so desperate to let her get away with this that they don't even push her on the fact that she's changed her mind allegedly on 8 different topics. And the final thing is, the proof is in the pudding. Kamala Harris can say that she's changed her mind on American energy or changed her mind on police or changed her mind on immigration. She is the sitting vice president of the United States. If she's changed her mind, why doesn't she enact these policies now and make Americans better off? I don't think she believes it, which is why you're not seeing it in what she's doing.
Another excellent point by J.D. Vance. Okay, I said the same thing. I literally said the same thing. And there were people, Kamala apologists, okay, Kamala defenders in the chat, like Bijal, bless her heart, asking or telling me that the vice president has no power. Well, they do have a certain amount of power and leverage. They don't have the power of the president, of course. But at the end of the day, these things that she's proclaiming she's going to do could have already been done if, in fact, she were actually wanting or willing to do them. Okay? She could have done these things. All right? And if she didn't have the power to do certain things herself, like I told you on yesterday, she could have easily gone to Biden and spoken with him and persuaded him or advised him on what things needed to be done. She didn't do any of that. She's lying. She's full of BS. Okay? She is full of BS.
And Danabash kind of asked about that. Hey, you've been vice president for 3.5 years last night. We know what she's doing with these new positions, Senator. She is racing to the middle because when, there's one, you're way out there on the fringe when you're in the primary, and then you race to the middle in the general, and that's what she's doing. But she said, and obviously she's fishing around for Republican votes as well, because she was asked, and she said that she would appoint a Republican to her cabinet. And we've seen that in the past. GWB did it. Barack Obama did it. Would a Trump-Vance administration, would you guys appoint a Democrat to your cabinet?
Oh, of course we would, Stephen. We've actually got a lot of great Democratic support. We just got RFK, of course, Tulsi Gabbard, who endorsed the president in just the last couple of days. If you look at the Trump movement in 2024, it's actually the common sense big tent movement in American politics. We don't agree on everything, of course. Not everybody who votes for Donald Trump is going to agree with every policy issue, but we agree on the basics. We agree that American energy prices should be lower. We agree that we should be making more of our own stuff in the United States of America. We agree that we should close down the border and stop the flow of illegal drugs and trafficking into our country. It's just the basic common sense stuff. And it's telling, that Kamala Harris wants to say that she's the big tent candidate. She wants to say that she stands for a totally different platform than what she ran on 3 years ago, but she's governed as a radical. She will govern further as a radical. And Donald Trump has the record of lower prices, higher wages, and peace across the world. The contrast is extraordinary. We just have to remind the American people that the proof is in the pudding, and Donald Trump did a good job. Kamala Harris did a bad one.
Well, Senator, we've been following.
Oh, hold on. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to go back to that because they started talking about those Venezuelan gangs that Kabami and Biden are responsible for, as far as I'm concerned. So I'm going to go right back to it. But Nigel says, but VP won't undermine the president like an underboss at a gang doing deals without the leader's knowledge. That will lead to deadly consequences. Well, absolutely. No one said that she would undermine the president, but you can't tell me that when someone is the VP, that they don't have the ability to consult, to advise, and, bring issues forward to the president so they can have a discussion. And I do believe that had Kamala Kabami, had she actually wanted to do certain things that she's talking about she's going to do now, I do believe that she could have absolutely gone to Biden and persuaded him to do those things. Because obviously Biden respects her opinion, or he would never have chosen her to be his running mate, especially after she literally called him a whole segregationist. Okay. So at the end of the day, she could easily have taken those issues to Biden and had a discussion. But the fact of the matter is, beloved, she doesn't want to. She never wanted to. Okay. And she's just saying now what she thinks that people want to hear. And that's just my opinion on that. But so that being said, let's go back. I'm going to roll it back just a little bit. okay, because I want to hear what he has to say about the border crisis as it pertains to these Venezuelan gangs just running amok in Chicago and Colorado. And, you know, we need to be asking ourselves, why are these Venezuelan thugs out here with guns, toting rifles and all of that, AR-15s, in broad daylight at a housing complex? Okay, threatening people, intimidating people, taking the money from landlords. How are they able to get away with this? We should be asking ourselves. And, you know, I was speaking with some fool yesterday about this, and they had the nerve to tell me, well, you know, that's a state problem. That's for the state police to deal with. Listen, and they tried to blame it on the state. Okay, but here's the thing. I said, at the end of the day, what you can't do is negate the fact that they wouldn't even be here if Kabami had done her job at those borders. Okay, they wouldn't even be here if her and Biden had done what they were supposed to do as it pertains to keeping illegal people from just coming over here. All right, a whole bunch of thugs have come over here and they're running amok. Okay, they're out here killing, stealing, raping, and all kinds of things. And that is the problem. Okay, now people can sit here and cape for Kabami all you want, but the truth is the truth. And I'm gonna call it out every time I see it. I don't care who gets mad, okay? Because this person was getting on my last nerve. And finally, after I hit them with so many truth bullets, they had nothing left to say. They said, oh, well, I gotta get off this phone. Yeah, I know you do. Because you don't want to hear the truth, as many Kabami apologists don't. And here's the thing, and I want you to pay attention to this, because you see the thing about these, remember how I told you all weeks ago that the people that support Kabami, many of them, they get angry, mad, butthurt, bothered, bit out of shape because those of us speak against her. We have contrary views and opinions as it pertains to her and her so-called policies. They get upset. Now you have to ask yourselves, beloveds, why would they get upset? Well, they get upset because we're telling the truth. You see, if we were lying, they wouldn't be mad because they could easily debunk the lies with proof. Okay, that's what they could do. Just like I debunked her lies with proof on yesterday when she said that her and Biden had dropped the child poverty level by 50%. I told you that was a lie. I sat there and looked it up right while I was in real time. So they could easily do those things, but they can't because we're telling the absolute truth about her. There's no lies detected, okay? And then this person also was telling me, well, she's black as far as I'm concerned. I said, nobody cares as far as you're concerned. Okay, you can think she's black as far as you're concerned, but the science and the biological facts don't lie. She's not black because her father's from Jamaica. Okay, I'm sorry. And as I told you all before, if that makes him black, then that makes Elon Musk black, who was born and raised in South Africa. So stop being insidiously obtuse is what some people need to do. And then they get mad at me and people like me because we're just telling the truth and shaming the devil. Okay, I'm sorry. Get over it. The truth is the light.
Here at home, Chicago's, the Venezuelan gangs and the United States gangs are going back and forth. You got Colorado now where we have apparently some illegal migrants that have taken over an apartment complex. We had the councilwoman on from that area. This is what she said. Watch, Senator.
I currently know of 4 others. That's just in Aurora. I do believe that there are some in Denver. Denver police officers are starting to speak out.
We need to be arresting these guys for the smallest crimes that they're committing, putting them in jail, figuring out who they are. We don't even know who they are. They came across the border, were probably lightly vetted, probably have criminal backgrounds in Venezuela because we don't share background information with Venezuela. We really need to start putting boots on the ground and arresting these guys for shooting up cars, all the assaults that they're committing.
So, Senator, one of the problems is the local cops can't do anything. They can't talk to ICE. So these people can't be deported because it's a sanctuary state. What does a Trump-Vance administration do differently?
Well, first of all, we end sanctuary cities and we end sanctuary states. If you've got illegal immigrants in your communities, they need to go home, and you need to cooperate with local and federal law enforcement to help get illegal immigrants out of our country. Guys, if we don't have a border, we do not have a real country. And all these problems that exist primarily in Central America, we're now seeing them in places like Aurora, Colorado, or Chicago, or Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, because Kamala Harris has allowed us to import the business of the drug cartels into our own communities, and Americans are suffering because of it. We cannot overstate this. I was talking to national firefighters yesterday. Hundreds of millions of dollars in Chicago, in New York, in Pittsburgh, all across our community are going to pay for the problems related to the border. You're housing illegal migrants. You're trying to deal with the drug overdoses that come from illegal migrants. We should be spending that money on more police, more firefighters, more municipal services. But these local governments are being totally destroyed because they're paying for Kamala Harris's open border.
But Senator,
we
real
can do
quick,
so much better.
real quickly,
we just need common sense leadership.
I know we only got a little bit at a time, but I'm curious.
Yeah.
The sanctuary cities, sanctuary states, if Trump Vance administration is there, does that now become against federal law? Is there going to be a bill to say you cannot be a sanctuary state, you cannot be a sanctuary city?
Yeah, absolutely. It needs to be against federal law, and we need to be willing to use the purse strings of the federal government. If a local city is not willing to cooperate with deporting violent criminals, then we need to say, well, then maybe we're not going to give you as much money as we used to. We have got to end the practice of sanctuary cities. It's making our communities poorer and less safe.
Senator, yesterday, former President Trump announced that he wants to make IVF treatments free if he becomes a president. So you're talking here to a mom of 9 kids. So I obviously believe more babies are better. But I actually was kind of a little bit taken aback because last week you were talking about, making Americans healthy. We clearly have a fertility problem. Something is going on in our country because infertility is exploding. And there's something, whether it's in the food, in the environment, it could be cultural as well, that we're encouraging girls to start women to have babies a lot later. I've talked to a lot of pro-life friends of mine, and they're saying it's one thing to say, I'm not going to ban IVF. It's an entirely other thing to say, we're going to pay for it, or we're going to mandate insurance companies to pay for it. And a lot of them said that smacked to them like Obamacare mandating, contraceptive mandates. So what's your response, particularly the pro-life community, which has been so supportive of this ticket and the advances that Donald Trump has clearly made in that area?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm pro-life, and I want to save as many babies as possible. I think it's important for us to recognize that there are a lot of fertility problems, and we ought to be talking about the root causes. But President Trump has always been pro-fertility treatment to address some of the problems too that young women are facing. I mean, you know this, I know this. We've all had family and friends that have gone through infertility problems. It is a nightmare, and I think all President Trump is saying is that we get as accessible as possible. Of course, we're going to respect religious liberties. We're not going to force anybody to do something that is against their conscience, but we also want to make this fertility stuff available to as many people as possible because babies are good. And for a whole host of complicated reasons, we've got a lot of women and a lot of young families that are struggling with this. We, of course, want them to have happier, healthier lives. And we want American women to have as big of families as they would like to have. And unfortunately, we know that's not happening right now.
What do you say, Senator, to those in the pro-life community, some now that are so angered that they're saying some of them may stay home? Why is that a bad idea?
Well, it's a bad idea, first of all, because all the president has said is he wants abortion to be made at a policy to be made at the state level, right? He wants California, Florida, Ohio to fight this stuff out and to have debates among their citizens rather than having a national one-size-fits-all approach. And I think the genius in President Trump's approach here is that he's actually giving the individual voting populations the room to figure this stuff out. You guys know, again, I am a pro-life person. We had a pro-life referendum in the state of Ohio. It didn't go the direction that I wanted it to go. And I think what I take away from that is that those of us in the pro-life community, we've got to do a better job of persuading our fellow citizens. But even if you disagree with something that Donald Trump has said, look, Kamala Harris wants to force Christian hospitals to perform abortions. She wants taxpayer-funded abortion up until the moment of birth. The Democrats are utterly radical on this. And if you, like me, want to save as many babies as possible, Donald Trump is really the only candidate in the race.
Well, we know you're running for vice president. He's running for president. You guys are very busy. Senator, thank you very much for spending about 20 minutes with us today.
Thank you all.
Okay, so with that being said, he brought up some very interesting points. I'm actually glad that I listened to that because I had no idea he was going to say all of that. And I had no idea that we're going to ask him all of those questions that they did. But I also want to shout out Dana Bash, the woman who in fact interviewed Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, because she did a very good and thorough job, in my opinion, with the questions that she asked. You see, unlike Steve Harvey, Ricky Smiley, she didn't ask the softball questions. She asked the questions that we wanted to know. She asked the things that we wanted to hear. And this is how we were able to catch Kobami in a myriad of lies. Okay. And that's the thing. That's the reason she's waited so long to do an interview. That's the reason she brought Tim Walz with her to the interview, because she didn't want to answer all of those questions by herself. She didn't want to be caught off guard, which clearly she was. Support the Art said Dana is auditioning for Fox News. I don't care who she's auditioning for. She did a damn good job. That's what she did. She asked the questions that anybody else who previously has spoken to Kamala should have been asking her. Because Ricky Smiley asking her to sing the words, the lyrics to Atomic Dog, that does nothing for me and the information that I want to receive about a person. Okay, Steve Harvey sitting there asking her those little first grade questions, that didn't help me in any way, nor did it help any of you. Okay, so please pay attention. The Breakfast Club included, asking her about weed and, rap and all of that stuff that they've asked her previously in years before. So like I said, shout out to Dana Bash. And with that all being said, now let's go to Tulsi Gabbard, because let us not forget that Lieutenant Colonel Tulsi Gabbard went in on Kobami, okay, and just dropped receipt after receipt, and Kamala couldn't even debunk anything this woman said. And now, surprisingly, Tulsi Gabbard is on a terror watch list. Okay, who did that? Whose idea was that, Democrats? I have questions. Okay, and I also want you all to pay attention to something else. When they're talking about this infertility that's going on in this country, does the venom have anything to do with it? Because I have questions. Okay, does the venom have anything to do with it? I have a whole lot of questions. That being said, okay, so let's move on forward. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share, and let's hear what Tulsi Gabbard has to say.
Gardio. First, before we go to Tulsi, here is a clip from a 2019 Democratic presidential debate that went viral and may have helped end Kamala Harris's 2020 campaign. Roll it.
Now, Senator Harris says she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned about this record. She put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. She blocked evidence that would have freed an innocent man from death row. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. The bottom line is, Senator Harris, when you are in a position to make a difference and an impact in these people's lives, you did not.
Well, of course, that.
Now, let me say this to what Tulsi just said. She said years ago that Kamala had an opportunity to make a difference in people's lives, but she did not. Well, she had that same opportunity, and I want you to pay attention very carefully, Kamala apologists, okay, Kamala defenders. She has had the time and opportunity to make a difference in Americans' lives in the past or the last 3.5 years, and she has not done so. She has not done so. The only thing that she's done is allowed illegals to come over here, run amok, commit all these crimes that they've been committing, and do harmful things to American citizens who are here legally. That's all that she's done. Now, if she's done anything else, someone please put that in the chat, because I will wait. Okay, thank you. Back to your regularly scheduled program.
That was former Democrat Congresswoman and DNC Vice Chair Tulsi Gabbard, and she joins me now. Great to see you. Should I call you Colonel, Tulsi? What would you prefer?
Tulsi's great.
Tulsi's
Thanks.
great. Well, since you have now, you and RFK are now part of the Trump campaign. Explain why. Why did you go with Trump?
David, the choice in this election is very clear, and the differences between President Trump and Vice President Harris couldn't be more stark. Frankly, to put it simply, the choice for the American people is a choice with Donald Trump, a man who values peace, prosperity, and freedom. He has a record that proves that. And Vice President Kamala Harris, whose record shows an increasingly tyrannical government undermining our freedoms. We are embroiled in multiple wars around the world and closer to the brink of nuclear war than ever before, and increasing economic hardship for Americans throughout these last 3.5 years that she has served as Vice President of the United States. The contrast couldn't be more clear. This is personal for me, this endorsement of President Trump, because as a soldier now for over 21 years, I've deployed to multiple war zones in different parts of the world, put my life on the line for the safety, security, and freedom of the American people. So it's important to me and to every one of my brothers and sisters in uniform that we have a commander-in-chief who values every one of our lives, who carries that responsibility as commander-in-chief very seriously.
This question that Support the Arts just asked. Beloved says, what has Trump done to actually help people? He serves himself. Well, he does serve himself, okay? That's the narcissist in him. But at the end of the day, what has he done? Well, for Black people, there's the First Step Act. There's the Platinum Plan. Okay, there were some people pardoned. He did get A$AP Rocky out of jail. Okay, didn't he do something for Lil Wayne and Kodak Black? Okay, there's your answers. All right, but let me continue. And those people were Black, beloved.
And will therefore exhaust all diplomatic avenues before seeing war truly as a last resort. And the last point that I'll make on this, that is another point of contrast, is President Trump showed through his last administration, not only did he not start any new wars, he took action to prevent them by courageously meeting with adversaries, allies, partners, dictators. He would meet with whoever he needed to pursue peace. Kamala Harris criticized Donald Trump for doing exactly that, which shows that if she's elected president, she will not do what is necessary in the pursuit of peace. And I am certain that she will lead us very quickly into a war to mask the weakness and insecurity that she feels and try to project strength using the lives of my brothers and sisters in uniform to do so.
And it's not like Donald Trump just sat on his hands when we were challenged abroad. I mean, ISIS is a perfect example of that.
Let me just bring this back. Thank you, Lillian X, because Trump gave people stimulus checks, okay? If you got a stimulus check, that helps you pay a bill or two, okay? That's all I'm saying. Since you asked the question, support the arts, all right? Please pay attention.
ISIS was supposedly an intractable problem during the Obama years, and he managed to wrap the things up pretty clearly, wrap it up in Syria and Iraq, where they were doing most of their horrible, horrible work in a matter of months. And he did it with very targeted, and he wasn't afraid to take on the Russians, by the way. He killed about 200 Russian troops, mercenary troops, who were in Syria during the course of that effort.
You know, that's an interesting contrast that you point out there between Donald Trump, who recognized the threat of Islamist terrorism and acted decisively to defeat ISIS. And you contrast that to what we saw during the Obama administration. And quite frankly, even with Kamala Harris, they won't even use the words radical Islamist terrorist because they're so afraid of being called Islamophobes. And under the Obama administration, they refused to go after al-Qaeda. They refused to go after al-Qaeda in Syria specifically. So you look at the contrast of these presidents, you look at Kamala Harris, who will not use those words and cannot be trusted to keep the American people safe from this continued and very real threat of radical Islamist terrorism, both militarily and ideologically.
Yeah. And, you know, you realize very well, because you were dealing with this in 2020 during your debate with her, how she tries to wiggle out of her past statements and do flip-flops in order, depending on which audience is in front of her. Now she's trying to appeal to a broader, more moderate group of American voters. So she's denying all sorts of things from her past. And one thing that she denied essentially yesterday by not showing up at the memorial to the 13 service people who were killed 3 years ago was her role in not only the withdrawal itself, but the way in which that withdrawal was conducted. She kind of let it out in 2021. I want to play that tape and get your reaction. Roll it.
Afghanistan.
Yes.
The Biden administration finally agreed to ban Peter Daszak and EcoHealth Alliance.
Were you the last person in the room?
Yes,
And you feel comfortable?
I do.
You think she's going to try to wiggle out of that because it's on tape?
Of course. Of course. It's like every other major position that she has taken that has turned out to be such a disaster for the American people and our well-being and our national security. It is disgusting to me, David. It is maddening that not only she was basically silent. Okay, she put out a little statement on a piece of paper yesterday, but why wasn't she out there at Arlington Cemetery? Why hasn't she reached out to those Gold Star families of the 13 men and women who were killed in that disastrous Afghanistan withdrawal? That, as she said, she was the last person in the room to speak to Joe Biden when he made that decision, and she's good with it. Why hasn't she called them to check on them, to apologize to them, and grieve alongside them for their loved ones who will never, ever come home? This is yet another example of why Kamala Harris is unfit to serve as our president and commander-in-chief, something I've been warning the American people about going all the way back to 2019.
Now, you did pin the rose on her for her past statements and contradictions back in 2020. Are you going to help, or are you in the midst of helping former President Trump as he prepares for a debate with her?
Well, President Trump is ready to debate Kamala Harris today. There's no doubt about his preparedness. Any ability for me to offer some additional help will only come from my experience of having been on that debate stage with her, knowing how, as you said, she's going to try to wiggle her way out of her very real record that she's had over these last 3.5 years. And as we saw in her speech at the Democratic convention, we've seen how she says, well, we stand for freedom. I'm going to be a president who champions freedom. Meanwhile, she, even as Mark Zuckerberg just pointed out, she and Joe Biden have used them to do their dirty work in censoring Americans' free speech. She has.
Okay, thank you. I told you all that the other day, that it was the Biden administration, Biden and Kobami, who censored our speech. Mark Zuckerberg came out and admitted it. I did a live on that days ago. So at the end of the day, are they trying to make this into a communist regime? Do we want more of the same? Kobami's policies will be the same old Biden policies. Okay, please pay attention. Now, Support the Arts says Trump supporters are quite something. You like what you like, I guess. Well, people do like what they like. People absolutely do like what they like. Now, I'm not a Trump supporter. I don't support Trump or Kobami. Everyone should know by now that I support Dr. Shiva, whom I actually had on the show and interviewed at length. I feel like he's the most qualified and would be the most viable candidate, okay, to be president, or is the most viable candidate to be president. But, and for those of you who don't know, Dr. Shiva, he invented email at the age of 14. He's a graduate of MIT. He holds 4 degrees, one of them in biological engineering. He's brilliant. But with that all being said, the truth is the truth. Okay, and see, that's the thing with these Kamala or Kobamians, whatever y'all just call them in the chat. That's the thing with these Kobami apologists and defenders. Just because you go against her and you don't support her, they automatically want to foolishly assume that you support Trump. That is not always the case. Now, some people support Trump, but at the end of the day, that's not always the case. You see, don't get mad at the truth. The truth is going to be told on this channel, no matter who likes it or who doesn't. Now, Trump did, you asked the question, Support the Arts, what has Trump done for people? I simply told you what he did. The First Step Act, that helped Black people. The Platinum Plan, that disproportionately helped Black people. Okay, I'm sorry, it's true. At the end of the day, someone put in the chat, because I forgot to even mention, that he made it a law that you cannot chain a woman, though she's in prison, you cannot chain her down while she's giving birth. Okay? And that was due to him sitting down with Angela Stanton King, whom he pardoned, right? Okay, so that she wanted to run for Congress or what have you, I believe. But anyway, she told him her story of how she was pregnant in prison and how she was strapped and chained down like an animal, not like a human being. Whether someone's a criminal or not, well, in my opinion, depending on what type of criminal you are, not talking about a serial killer, but people commit crimes. But should you be treated like an animal when you're giving birth because of that? Okay, so he made that a law. So you asked, what has he done? He gave out stimulus checks, okay, right at the end of the day. So, I mean, that is just the truth, beloved. I don't have to be a Trump supporter to tell you the truth when you ask me a question, okay? Now let's continue. Likes up, everyone, please like and share.
Has labeled me a domestic terrorist, put me on a secret domestic terror watch list because of my exercise of free speech and exposing her record. So whether it's freedom, democracy, border security, rule of law, war and peace.
Hold on, let me stop right there again, because I also want you all to pay attention. Now, Tulsi just brought up how she's been put on a secret terror watch list because of her views against censorship. What did I tell you all about a year or two ago? I told you that the way we're being censored, pretty soon, if you're an outspoken person who speaks truth to power, if you're a person who unveils things or exposes things they don't want exposed, if you're a person who goes out there and talks about, defiantly speaks about things that they don't want the rest of us to know, that they don't want the masses to know, they will start to deem you a terrorist. Didn't I tell you all this? I literally predicted this like 2 years ago. And here we have Tulsi Gabbard now on a terror watch list. Now today it's Tulsi. Tomorrow it could be you or me. Okay? Truth speakers and truth seekers are under attack under the Biden administration. And that's just what it is. Okay, this is a fact. All right, they have censored us. I can't even say certain words. We can't say certain words on social media due to things that Biden and Kamala have done. They have been in cahoots. They have pressured big tech. And Mark Zuckerberg already told us and admitted to it, which we already had figured it out. Those of us who are awakened from the slumber, who've stepped away from the matrix, we already knew this. Okay? So with that all being said, TC Dan says, as y'all know, I'm not a Trump supporter, but by any stretch of the imagination, can't stand him, but I will always give credit where it's due. Fair is fair. Yes, absolutely. Thank you for your insight, Dan, beloved, and also for your kind contribution to the channel. Okay? I appreciate you. Kevin says, these same people deemed MLK a terrorist. Yes, absolutely. Because anytime you're saying things people don't want told, you can be under attack. People have lost their lives for being whistleblowers and truth speakers. Okay, now let's get back to Tulsi.
What she says, her record is the exact opposite.
Yeah. Now, we talked about your record not only with Congressman Walz, who's an old friend of yours from your days in Congress, but also with the gentleman who preceded you. But how did 12 months in Iraq, you were there, incidentally, the same time period that my son was there. He's a Marine. He's in a different outfit, but he was there at the same time. How did that inform your view of our role in a very dangerous world? And might that play a role in the Trump administration if he's elected?
You know, I served in a medical unit there, David, where every single day I was confronted with the very high human cost of war. It was such a life-changing experience for me that made it so that when I came home from that deployment, it motivated me to try to find some way, shape, or form where I could help influence and impact and make those decisions about war and peace, about where our men and women in uniform are being sent into harm's way, because I saw up close and firsthand the war profiteering of the military-industrial complex. I saw politicians who would fly in, take their photo op, and leave, who voted to start that war that took so many American lives, and the hypocrisy that they say thank you for your service on Veterans Day, and yet they will not hesitate to use us as cannon fodder, essentially, to advance their own personal, political, or power-hungry goals. So President Trump understands this. Obviously, I have had a different experience, but what I witnessed at Arlington Cemetery yesterday morning as he spent hours, David, he spent hours with these Gold Star families. There were 2 survivors of that attack at Abbey Gate in Afghanistan who are severely disabled for the rest of their lives. He understands the gravity and the seriousness of the commander-in-chief's responsibility, and he's eager to take that responsibility back to stop these unnecessary wars of choice, to walk us back from the brink of nuclear war and put us back on that path towards peace, prosperity, and freedom that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have so completely destroyed throughout these last 3.5 years of their time in office.
But it is peace through strength that he believes in, not unlike Ronald Reagan. I'm just wondering, would you play a role? We got to run, but would you play a role specifically in something involved with the military or defense if he is elected?
If given that opportunity, I would be grateful to serve and help him save our country and get us back towards that future for all Americans.
Well, we are grateful for your service, Colonel Gabbard. Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, so with that all being said, Support the Arts says, sorry for calling you a Trump support queen. I was wrong, honey. That's fine at the end of the day, honey. I know I don't support Trump. All of y'all should know that by now. How many times have I said that I support Dr. Shiva? Okay, so with that all being said, Queen Sam said, tell it like it is, lady. Okay, photo ops. But Dump refused to go into the military. Yes, he did. Okay, he absolutely did. Okay, we can't forget that. Okay, so with that all been said, listen, Diddy's going down. Let's do a summary of the broadcast. Okay, Diddy's going down. For those of you who missed it, go the beginning of the video, go back and watch the replay, because Diddy has been, or not Diddy, the grand jury has been convened officially, okay, in the case of Diddy. They're going to be speaking with witnesses and accusers. Diddy's team is not going to be invited. They may send a statement or something, but that rarely happens. With my knowledge of law, that rarely happens at the end of the day. And they've issued a new grand jury subpoena where they're requesting the Miami hotel, some hotel in a fancy hotel in Miami, to cough up receipts about Diddy and Daphne Joy. Daphne Joy, beloved, what have you done? What has she done? She must have done something, okay? Right, Reeducated Soul says, Queen, you called it. Thank you, beloved. Like I told you all, you heard it here first. Diddy will be indicted mid to late September. Okay, I am absolutely pretty sure about that. All right. So with that all being said, everyone, please like this video, share this video. I want to thank you all for tuning in on this Saturday morning. I love you all to life. Y'all know I do, because why else would I be on here this Saturday morning? Pay attention. Y'all know I have other things to do, like my hair for one. Okay, so with that all been said, everyone enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Peace.
Hit him with that flavor. Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got